some of them like they exhibited like extreme old age all of a
Yeah.
sudden, or there was this evidence of high amounts of radiation. Team of nine, and I believe there was a pretty young team. I think the oldest was like maybe mid to late 30s, and these aren't just some random Joe schmoes hiking up this crazy mountain. Rather, they were experienced. They've done other ventures before, and the older of them were scientists and whatnot, and so they get to the point of this mountain where it was just they can't go up any further. It was just a bad time at that instant, right? Snowing, high winds, freezing temperatures, can't see, that kind of stuff. So they said, okay, let's go and let's post up here tonight on this kind of like flat part of the mountain where they're nearby. And what was that? That they had a name for it over there, like that
I think
part
the
of the
Mountain of the
mountain,
Dead or something like that.
Mountain of the Dead. Yeah,
It was
something like
pretty
that.
funny. Like they said they say the word in like a different language, and it's like the Mountain of Death. It was like the
That's what they call it.
death. It was like
You know,
Death Mountain or something like that.
right. And so then they could have walked down. They were only about like 1 point something kilometers up the mountain, and they chose to not do that because they didn't want to waste the day or something. Right.
So I mean, you mind if I jump in?
Yeah, for sure.
So at first I was really skeptical about this story. And I'll tell you why, because it's one thing I have a ton of experience with, is being like in high country in the cold. And I could see a lot of everything, the way it went down to a certain point. Now they said they're 1.5 kilometers from the tree line, and you're not going to go higher if you got in a storm. So in the event you get caught in a storm like that, the only reason you're not beelining it back to the tree line is because you're screwed. It's just too cold, too windy, and it's just you cannot get back without dying. So then further on the story, they camp. It's okay, if they're experienced, they might have recognized this. Like, we won't survive the tree line, so let's just dig in. If they knew what they're doing, they dig deep in the snow and make snow shelters. The next segment of the story is I was still super skeptical because it was saying that they cut themselves out of the tent and they ran barefoot. And it's like, people that know hypothermia, that's typical. That's exactly what happens. You get too cold, your body burns up in the last attempt to survive. Most people who die of hypothermia are found naked, barefoot, really? Cut their way out of tent. Yep. Most people, they do. That's how they find them. Anyways, they rip your clothes off because you're so hot, but that's like in the last, short period of time before you die. So then they find their bodies at the tree line. And then it goes from being like me going like about to fast forward this documentary to holy shit. And like, that's like, yeah. I mean, we all saw that. Right?
Yeah, they're like burned. They have high levels of radiation on there. Some look like they were tortured.
Hair was great. They had like
they were like aged.
Major internal
one person,
injuries,
internal injuries where your ribs are crushed like just dust, and another person, the heart is all super jacked up, right? Like, but nothing on the skin. So
it almost like, just going full conspiracy theory and just open up your whole mind. It could be a weird case of like abduction, and then just like after like they're like done with them, then just dumping their bodies again.
There's footprints right where they were though too, right? I mean,
they followed the footprints for quite a while.
If a technology is able to come, as far as it would, and be undetected into our world, then I'm sure they could figure out how to make footprints if they really wanted to cover it up. You know what I mean? But like that thing about, like, it made me think about, like, I've seen a few, a fair amount of people who have died where they look like they're perfect on the outside, but they're destroyed on the inside. And the way that happens, and my understanding of it, is like kind of the way kinetic energy travels, right? Like, so when you have like a major, so you get a car accident, right? You'll have like a car into a pole, and then you'll have a couple people in the car that are completely fine, and then one guy that's dead, and then just, his heart's dislocated, or like his aorta dissection, right? The heart, it's just torn from like all that energy hitting it, right? And like people have like traumatic dislocations in their brain, stuff like that. So like, what kind of fucking force when you're out in the snow in a tent
And 9 people too.
can hit you? What kind of energy has to hit you for it to crush your ribs into your heart? Like that's like,
and on top of it,
there's no
the
trains
other
out there.
things, right? Like, oh, some of them like they exhibited like extreme old age all of a sudden,
Yeah.
or there was this evidence of high amounts of radiation and things like this. Like something happened, and it seemed to me like if all of a sudden you were sleeping there and some force came through, like you're explaining, they'd all just be dead in the tent, right? Now maybe they
Yeah.
did get like hypothermia and all of them simultaneously running away at the same time, at the same, or maybe not the same
Yeah,
time, but they all
it's-
ran in the same direction. I mean, it's too
Or-
coincidental.
or-
I agree.
or,
I agree.
you
There's
know,
some
or
fishy shit here, man.
instead of hypothermia, something just scared them so fast that
That's
they didn't have time to like gear up, and they just started running, and then eventually they just died, however far it was from the tent. But with stuff like that, you also kind of wonder if there's some like weird government experiment. Just, hey, there's a bunch of hikers out there. Let's see how this new laser beam does on people.
yeah, Russians don't have laser beam to do that.
They
Well,
could.
and this was what, in like the 30s or something,
50s.
50s.
It's like 59 or something. They do not, Mr. Green.
We
There's
didn't
no
have
stupid
lasers.
Russian laser.
Laser beam.
Yeah, the AG laser. It's like Indiana Jones. They opened the ark. That's probably what happened, dude.
Yeah.
They found the ark. They opened it up, dude, and none of them kept their eyes closed, dude. That was game over, man.
Hey, real
But
quick.
yeah, I think that, but I personally think something scared them out of their tent.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's like, so if we were in a tent right now and we're in the middle of Antarctica and it's too cold to go outside, and I put a tiger in that tent, I don't give a fuck what you're wearing. You're getting
Yeah.
out of the goddamn tent. So if it's something like, that's what, something like that, right? Something scared them enough where they're like, fuck
Bro,
it.
you're not gonna have a tiger in Antarctica, bro. Okay, that's as foolish as Russians having a laser beam in the 1950s.
I'm trying
No,
to,
A
but you know
snow
what I mean?
tiger.
Like that
Yeah,
would be what it would be. It'd be like if like Alien from Aliens was
Right.
coming in the tent,
Right.
it's like game over, man. I'm getting the hell out of here.
Well, and that's what it seemed like, but there's
Yeah.
no other evidence other than just like, I'm getting out of this tent now. There's not like evidence of animals or any of that stuff, right? They just got out those tents and ran for their life,
Yeah.
and then they were found dead like that. Like that, it makes no sense.
Or they
Yeah, but you know what
had-
else
or
is
they had-
baffling about it
they-
is the
they
ways
had-
they died too, because you have a pile of bodies and they all have these very different, it's very dynamic, like there's just so many different ways that they were messed up. You know what I mean? If it was like a
One guy
human-
had his tongue cut off.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's like-
crazy.
Now, you see, I wonder, was his tongue cut off or did he bite it off? You know what I mean? Like was it found in his mouth? Was the tongue found? They don't really highlight that stuff.
He could have swallowed it.
yeah, Mr.
Swallowed it.
Murphy's cracking up over there. But you are right,
Where's
dude. Like
the tongue?
had-
Where's the tongue, Jerry?
But I mean, but if they were scared out of their tent, where if you're scared so much, in the
or yeah,
height
lot
of
of
fear, you
pressure.
bite your own, or a lot of pressure or something,
or radiation,
or
something like that.
or
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it actually like forced out and cut off, right? Or did all the 9 people just have some really bad shrooms?
He just got super old and then like
The shrooms made him old instantaneously, like in
Really
5
the
minutes.
bad.
insides just melt. We're shrooms ever, dude.
That they call that a bad trip.
Oh yeah, that one,
Hey.
dude. That was so gnarly, dude. Like you saw the pictures. I mean, like
Yeah.
so gnarly.
Yeah.